This program is proudly brought to you by Sprite. It happens, stay cool. Telecom Limited and PNG Motors.
Good night, Papua New Guinea, and thank you for joining us on another exciting episode of Sportsin. It was our pleasure having your company as always. And yeah, I hope your weekend was just as perfect. Mine was kind of stressful, but so far so good. I am back here and looking forward for another fantastic weekend again. All right, without further ado, coming up on the show tonight is Capital Rugby Union's Vice President John Nikare Jr., as well as NCD Data Association Vice President Anthony Caleb. Those are my guests for the show tonight. But before that, big games over the weekend. International sports was the Australian women's football team. They have qualified for the FIFA Women's World Cup after beating England at the Australian Stadium in front of what was said to be a sold-out crowd. So congratulations to the Aussie Matildas, and we look forward to seeing them winning their first FIFA World Cup title. Also, let's cheer for our very own PNG and Aussie football star Mary Boyer Fowler. The Aussie will meet Spain in the grand final after defeating Sweden 2-1 on Tuesday this week. If you missed out on the match, here is a slight preview on the match.
Well, away we go. If all goes to plan, England will meet Australia in the World Cup. And Kerr on the move, and Williamson looking over her shoulder. And there's Kerr! That's what she's all about. You give her a sniff and she'll take it. To tell her players to pick up the pace, but at the moment it's Australia doing that. And here's Kerr. And Kerr sending it across. And the header was through. The goal was there. Point arriving at the back post. And via a deflection, Australia in full charge.
The England women's football team has denied the Australian Matildas a FIFA World Cup spot on home soil after defeating them in front of a sold-out crowd at the Australian Football Stadium. England will meet Spain to decide who walks away with the 2023 FIFA World Cup title. Also, FIFA President Gianni Infantino visited Port Moresby on Sunday, where he opened the new headquarters of the PNG Football Association and discussed ways of developing football in the country with leaders. Mr. Infantino was also took time out to play some football match with former PNG football reps. During his visit, he also met with the Prime Minister James Marape and Minister for Sports Don Polier, and President, of course, our very own PNGFA President John Capinato. Mr. Infantino also talked about the future Oceania Professional League, which OFC is planning to start from 2025. The Athletics PNG completed the PNG Air National Athletics Championship over the weekend. The event provided APNG the opportunity to select its squad for the upcoming Pacific Games in Solomon Islands. PNG has dominated in the track and field event over the years and are determined to maintain their status going into the SI Games. Without further ado, let's now take a look at the weekend scoreline, starting with NRL Round 24 results. We saw Panthers 24 defeating the Manly Seagulls on 12, Sharks 36 over the Titans 6, Broncos 54 whooping the Eels on 10 points, Rabbitohs 26 over the Dragons on 14 points, Warriors 30 points defeating the West Tigers on 22, Roosters 30 over Dolphins 14, and the Melbourne Storms 48 over the Canberra Raiders on 2, and Knights 42 over Bulldogs 6 to wrap up round 24 of the NRL. To the Host Plus Cup round 21 results, Northern Pride 22 over Clydesdales 20, The PNG Hunters 22 defeating the Blackhawks on 18 points. The Falcons 40 defeating Devils 18. Bears 42 defeating winner Manly Seagulls on 30 points. And the Dolphins 30 points over Caprice 26. And the Tweedhead Seagulls registering the highest points of the competition with 72 defeat over Jets 8. The PNG NRLC elimination finals, Lahanis 14 defeated Wigmen on 8 and the Gurus 28 over Muruks 26. The CRE major semi-finals results in the under-19 division, Nova 18 defeating Harley Queens on 15, under 23 Marlins 19 over Brothers 11. To the A grade results, Crusaders 15 over Defense 11. And that was the weekend scoreline. We'll take a short break now. Coming up next is the CRU Vice President John Nikare Jr., who will give an update on the CRU Grand Final, so don't go away. Thanks for joining us, and you're watching Sports Scene. Joining me on set tonight is the Vice President of Capital Rugby Union, Mr. John Nikare. John, good night, and thanks for joining me on Sports Scene.
Thank you, David, and thank you, viewers, for allowing me space to be here.
All right, the Capital Rugby Union Grand Final this weekend. After 15 rounds, 2 weekends of finals, and we finally reached the season end of the competition with the 2023 CRU Grand Final. Just tell us about how the season has been so far.
Yeah, thanks, David. Listen, first, before I get into that, I just want to extend a big thank you to EMTV and also Sports In for giving us this platform for Capital Rugby Union, because I'm not the only one that's been on the show. I think there's been 3 or 4 other representatives from Capital Rugby Union that have been on the show to tell us about the union and keep the public up to date. So thank you again for your support, your ongoing support, and then also for airing us this week particularly, because yes, it is our grand final week after a long, drawn-out season. We've finally come to the back end of the season, and I can tell you, Dave, it's been a fantastic season. I've been involved with the association since 2018, and I think by far this has been the best season. And then this weekend is the grand final, of course.
All right, having that been said, just give us a rundown on teams that have made it through to the grand final in their respective divisions.
Yeah, so the grand final fixtures, okay, so there's going to be 5 matches, sorry. First we'll start off, the kickoff will be at 8:50 a.m. in the morning, and that's the under-19s, and it'll be Piggies versus Nova, Gangloff Consulting, Piggies versus Nova Rugby. And then at 10:40 a.m. will be the under-23s, and that'll also be Nova versus the MBB Marlins, so that's a good one to watch as well. The A-grade match, which will kick off at 12:30 p.m., will be between Harlequins and the Crusaders. Those 3 games will be ref by our local refs, CRU refs, who have all been accredited under Queensland accreditation, so there's going to be some really good rugby played and adjudicated over. And then the women's will be kicking off at 2:40 p.m. And that'll be ref by Jess Craig. So she's coming up. She's one of the Queensland refs that we're actually flying up to ref the match. So
the women's match.
Yeah, the women's match, the main match, and that's the precursor, obviously, to the grand final. And that'll be between the reigning premiers Harlequins and the Juggernauts. And then the main game will be between the reigning premiers again, Harlequins and Brothers. That should be a really bumper of a game, and that'll be at 4:45, and it'll be ref by Ned Carrick, who's also from Queensland Rugby Refs Association. So some really good matches there. Of course, these games will also be live streamed on social media, on our Facebook page. And Dave, whilst I'm on that, it's been the level of activity and engagement on our Facebook page has been phenomenal. I mean, we're just shy of 100,000 followers and viewers for week in, week out, especially really bumped up during the finals week. So I mean, that's moving forward, that's a platform that we're going to really build on, leverage, and so that we can reach out to the PNG, the rest of PNG, Pacific, even Papua New Guineans living abroad that are really interested in rugby, want to engage in what's happening in town. So that's something that we're looking forward to building next year onwards.
All right. In terms of ticket sales, how are things currently going at the moment?
Very good question. Very good question. So tickets are on sale. All right. So the public stand is 10 kina. Remember, kids are free if they got uniform. Northern stand, kids go there, school uniforms. We'll feed you. We'll sit you. We'll make sure there's people looking after you there on the Northern stand. Public stand is 10 kina, and the grand-stand is 25 kina. Now you can get your tickets at Brian Bell Boroko, J-Mart Erima, Cool Stuff, Rangeview and Waterfront. And also, you can check us on the Facebook page for more details, and we can. There's also the lounge passes that are going for 200 kina, and that's the up at the executive lounge pass. But so again, the ticket prices heavily subsidized by CRU, and that's deliberate. We want everybody to be there. We're not there. I mean, the grand final is not really about revenue raising or revenue generating. It's not about making money. It's about showcasing the best rugby union in PNG on the weekend, and that's what we intend to do. So we want to get as many bums on seats as we can, so that everybody, particularly the kids, Dave, we need to inspire these kids. We need kids to be watching this game, get inspired, because I don't care which sport you're playing. If we don't get our kids involved, if we don't get our kids inspired by the different codes, the different federations out there, I mean, PNG will never be able to compete at the elite level. The only way we're going to compete at the elite level is if we start sowing the seed, planting the seed at a young age, because they learn good skills, they learn good qualities, discipline, all of those good values that they learn from a young age. So when they bring it up to the senior level, they're able to just perform on a professional level. And that's the kind of mantra, that's the kind of values that CRU will embrace.
Is there any other things that you would like to add before we let you go?
No, again, look, I'll just reinforce that. Thank you, EMTV. Thank you, Sports Sync. You always create this wonderful platform that Capital Rugby Union. Feel free to come here, share our plans. 2024, 2025, looking forward the next 3 to 5 years. Look, we've got bold, ambitious plans. It's been fantastic to see the number of sponsors that have come on board to support our code. Again, it's a testament to the good governance that we've been able to run the union. The level of sponsorship, it's never been seen before. The likes of Moneyplex, the likes of City Pharmacy, the likes of Pepsi, of course, our major sponsor. They've been wonderful. Our sponsors have been wonderful, and we hope. I mean, we just hope that we've done them justice by running a good competition and also delivering a fantastic grand final. So, I'm really thankful to all the sponsors, and then of course the players themselves and all the supporters and family members. Come on out on Saturday. Let's have a fantastic day. Let's end the season on a good note. Get into the representative season, and then let's look forward to 2024 and beyond. Build on this platform. This is the baseline now, right? This is what good looks like in rugby union in PNG. 2024, we're just going to build it up further and further, and with the support of our sponsors, our patrons like Will Genia. We've also got Digby Ione, who's coming as a former Wallaby. Aidan Toa, they'll be there on Saturday. Will Genia, come out, get selfies with them, get their autographs. These guys are there for you, for supporters and spectators to engage with. They'll be out there on the weekend too. So some great activities. It'll be really fantastic, fun day for family and friends. So get out there.
You had the Vice President mentioning names like Digby Ioane, William Genia, as well as our very own Aidan Toa. These are former Super Rugby players, and they have also represented the Wallabies, so they'll be there. Please, ladies and gentlemen, if you're doing nothing, make yourself available on that very special day. Again, Mr. Nikare, thank you very much for coming on board. It was our pleasure, and we're looking forward to some rugby feast come this weekend.
Thank you. We'll see you all there. Thanks.
There you have it. That was the Vice President of Capital Rugby Union, John Nikare Jr. We'll take a short break now. Joining us next is the Vice President of the NCD Data Association, Anthony Caleb. So don't go away. Stay with us. viewers, and welcome back to Sports Scene. All right, I'm here at the Sports Scene Club, the home of NCD Dart Association. Now, in a few moments' time, I will be speaking to Mr. Anthony Caleb, who will be giving us a rundown on the competition as well as some highlights. So, without further ado, let's go and take a look at some dart action first. Anthony Caleb. Anthony, thanks for joining us and making time to come on Sports Scene. All right, just give us a update on the competition and how it has progressed since it commenced.
All right, thank you. Firstly, thank you for coming, and it's always a pleasure for darts to talk on the show. But coming back to the competition in our association, we started in March, and we've run to 2 rounds already. We have about 8 teams in 2 divisions, the Premier. In the first division, we have 8 teams in 4 pools. So right now we've just started round 3, game 3 of round 3. And we have 4 more weekends before we run into the finals.
All right, as you mentioned there, it's just round 3. After round 3, how has been the turnout from participating teams like?
Oh, well, I think this year alone, we've seen a lot of interested people who have come in to play darts from last season. So our numbers have grown exponentially. Last year, we only had about 15 teams. That's triple. We have about 40 teams now. So that's the whole reason why we've had to tier our association into 2 divisions.
With 4 more weeks before the finals, are there any expectations?
Well, so far the season's been really good. A lot of the new clubs have brought in a lot of talent. The challenge and camaraderie is very evident in the games they're playing, and the scores, the outcome of the games. So, you know, it adds a lot of value, not just to our association, but to the sport itself.
We have the National Dart Championship, which will be held in East New Britain. Right now, have you guys already put together a team as yet?
So far, we have only worked out, I guess, the rankings based on the stats. So our statistician, who is also our secretary, he's had a very heavy hand in having that done up. He's also created a web page where all the stats are put on so everybody can see it, so they know where they stand in the association, not just in their division, but overall. So that's one really good thing about how organized we are. And you know, it's a good way, I guess, to manage the sport and manage the talent that you have. You know, the organized it is, I guess the more the people will enjoy the game. So, yeah.
You attended the last championship, national championship. Did NCD Dart Association attend?
Unfortunately, no, we didn't make it through. That's why we have prepared after to make sure that we do attend the next one in Kokopo next year. Yeah.
Are there any expectations going into this Kokopo Dart Championship?
Well, under the new executives of the association, it will be the first they will be sending a team to the national championships. I think the only difference is that we're more organized. We've systematically done it, so we eliminate, you know, things like bias and nepotism and all that. So it's purely based on attitudes, sportsmanship, all the good things you want to expect in a sports person, I guess. So in this case, it's dart. So that's what we're trying to do, and I believe we have strong competition because there's a lot of people who have come from other associations. They bring that value in the the level of game they play to the association. So it's really good. So, saying that, you can easily see where we're trying to go from there. So we may be a challenge to other associations, but we'll remain tightly right now until the championships in Kokopo.
All right. Just lastly, before you go, is there any word of appreciation to sponsors for making this season possible?
Yeah. I guess we've really had to depend pretty much on our members. They've been the backbone of the association. But with regards to sponsors, we've had to, I guess, re-strategize ourselves. I'll just have a two-bit in there to say that we've started our corporate darts. It started on Wednesday this week. We rolled that out. So at the moment, we got 20 corporate associations that are participating. It's really good. We want to bring them in to support us in a way, and also, I guess, get them to build relationships among themselves, but in a different environment where they can relax and talk about things they wouldn't talk about in the office, and maybe build bridges from there. So that's another, I guess, strategy that we've used to I guess, help us along the way. But yeah, so I'll head off to those organizations that have shown interest, and we're looking forward to really getting them to come in and support us in the long run.
Thank you very much, Mr. Caleb, for making time to come and give an update of the association, and we're looking forward to the finals and a successful season ahead. Thank you.
Again, thanks again for allowing us to talk about that.
And that was NCD Dart Association's Vice President, Mr. Anthony Caleb. The NCDDA competition will run for another 5 weekends, with the finals expected at the end of October. Anyway, we'll take a short break now. When we return, we will wrap things right here on Sports Scene, so don't go away. Welcome back, and if you just tuned in, you're watching Sports Scene. All right, before we take a look at the weekend scoreline, there's a notice to the general public. The annual Trukai Fun Run is back after a 3-year hiatus and is scheduled for the 20th, which is Sunday. The Fun Run will be hosted in Port Moresby, Lake Goroka, Kokopo, Ramu, Lihir, Mount Hagen, and of course Tabubil. All proceeds raised from the event will go towards supporting Team PNG's participation at the 2023 Pacific Games in Honiara, Solomon Islands. So if you haven't purchased a Trukai Fun Run t-shirt, do purchase yourself one and be part of this annual event. All right, we'll now take a look at the weekend scoreline, starting with NRL Round 24 draws. For this test day, the 17th of August, we'll see the Sharks taking on the Cowboys. Then on Friday's double header, the Warriors take on the Eagles and the Eels are taking on Roosters. On Saturday, the 19th of August, Tigers will take on Dolphins, Titans going up against the Penrith Panthers, and the Storms are taking on the Dragons. Then on Sunday, the 20th of August, the Newcastle Knights, who are really in form, they're looking forward for their 7th win. They will be taking on the South Sydney Rabbitohs, and the Raiders taking on the Bulldogs to wrap up round 25 of the NRL. And to the Host Plus Cup round 22 draws, the North Devils will take on our very own PNG Hunters, Tweeted Seagulls taking on Falcons, the Mackay Cutters going up against the Clydesdales, Capras against competition leaders Magpies, the Blackhawks going up against the Bears, Pride taking on Dolphins, and Winner Manly Seagulls taking on the East Tigers. To the PNG NRLC major semi-finals this weekend at the NFS, the Angamiaks will take on Late Tigers, and the Rabaul Gurias taking on the Goroka Lahanis. Winner gets to play in the grand final. The CRU Grand Final draws in the Under-19. University Piggies will take on the Nova. Nova will also take on the Marlins in the Under-23 division. In the Open Women's division, the Juggernauts going up against the Harlequins, and the A-Reserve Crusaders will take on Harlequins and the Premier Men's Brothers taking on the Harlequins. So Harlequins have 3 teams in the grand final. Anyway, if there is any stories or sporting events that you would like us to provide media coverage to, please do not hesitate to contact us on the following details on the screen. You can call us on 312-9229 or email sportscene@emtv.com.pg, or you can personally visit us at Garden City Level 2 Boroko. We'll also be uploading all the content of tonight's show on our Sportscene Facebook page. So if you missed out on the show, do visit the page and see the videos that you missed out on tonight. Unfortunately, this is where I get to go. But before I do that, please, if you're a rugby union fanatic and you're doing nothing over the weekend, please make yourself available at the National Football Stadium and witness some rugby actions, the CFU Grand Final that will be played on Saturday. Again, that's about it for tonight. On behalf of myself and the rest of my team here at Sportscene, thanks for joining us on this episode of Sportscene. It was our pleasure having your company, and we shall do this again, same time, same place. Until then, it's good night and God bless you all.
This program was proudly brought to you by Sprite. It happens, stay cool. Telecom Limited and PNG Motors.